Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Friday, February 19th, and it is time for Free Tip Friday. I'm Kate Richburg, and you are watching our Friday broadcast for beadshop.com. I'm going to come on the screen here in just a second. I just want to make sure that we've got all of our connections, our sound, and ready to go. And if you guys are ready to go, I am going to take a look and make sure, and then we will get this show on the road. And here I am. Great to have you all here, everyone. Well, let's see who's watching. First, let me pat my hair down a little bit. I've been running around here at the office, so if it looks like I've been running around with my head on fire, I probably have been, but it's great to see all of you guys. It's great to see you. So, sorry I was a little late. I was just gathering everything, but I think we're all set to go. So, I see everybody is here and up and running. So, I'm just looking at some of the comments here. I hope Julie is watching because Julie, your, whoops, I don't know why that happened, but there we go. I don't want to go to that quite yet. It was your question that prompted our live broadcast today, and it's all about laddering chain. So we had some questions. I was going to finish our lariat today, but that can wait because I think chain is kind of a timely issue right now. So we're going to jump in and talk a little bit about how to ladder different types of chain. So let me jump in, and I'm going to highlight this one here. All right, and you may recognize that project from our Wednesday broadcast with Janice and I, our laddering with chain segment of our color study. And if you haven't watched the color study, go back and watch the episode, you guys. It was really, really a fun episode. And I think I learned a lot. Janice said she learned a lot, and I hope that you guys learned a lot as well. All right. So, so the laddering with wheat chain portion is one that I demoed on that one on Wednesday. So, Julie, I think it was Julie M who wrote in for that question. Asked about other chains and other things you could do to ladder. So here on this one, let me get a little closer here. I'm going to share with you some different chains that we have. And I've just set up just kind of a little practice lineup of our 1.5 millimeter. It's the exact same cord I used for this one. Okay. And I grabbed some chains. I also wanted to grab some 5 millimeter here, flat leather. Some of you are watching from the Great Bead Extravaganza page, which is great to have all of you guys here. This flat leather, we're doing our next Great Bead Extravaganza in March. And we have a brand new flat leather coming. And so the project, I think you guys are going to love the project. I'm going to give a sneak peek of it soon, but we'll be having some kits for it. And flat leather will play a big part in it. So I just wanted to bring some flat leather in today because I wanted to talk about it a little bit also with chain. So here is this 1.5 millimeter. And you may be asking, okay, how do I guess or how do I figure out if the chain that I have is appropriate to use in laddering? Okay. So the way I just grabbed some, I ran into where our chain was and I grabbed some things and I just brought them in. So we're going to determine whether or not these are appropriate for laddering. So this is our keyholes chain. And I'm going to go ahead and it looks like it's cut correctly. You can see the keyholes chain starts up at the top here with a loop. Can you see that? So that loop, first you want to look at your chains and you want to see if they're directional. If it looks like it would be easy to get a thread in and out of this chain. And this, let me get a little tighter here so you guys can see that. See how here's the top loop, just like we did with the wheat chain, and see how that would just come in and you could start laddering through right here. And so the links that are with the side of it facing up, this is where your thread path would go. Can you see that? And this chain is called keyholes. And I like using these sewing pins to kind of test, to pin everything down. Okay, so see how that goes in there like that? So that's exactly what I would do for this one. And I think it would look great laddered. You can also ladder it, probably you get two next to one another. But I think maybe since the chain link might be a little funny, we might just want to stick with a single strand on this one. Okay, so that's our keyholes. Now we have another good one kind of like this. This one is our, I had it in my head. I'm going to have to look it up. So bear with me here in just a second while I do that. And I think I'll show you which chain it is. Some of you will chime in, I'm sure, on what it is, but I bet I can bring it up right here. Maybe. It's called Run Along. This is our Run Along chain. And this is a really nice one. And this you could use side by side. So let me kind of flip it up here. And I would use the top two loops. I'm going to bring the rest of the chain up there. So see how those two loops sit next to one another? And then you could put it through those two and through these two. Right? Is that making sense? You picking up what I'm putting down here? And then at the top, what I would do a lead in here with just a couple of beads. I would start one, maybe an 8/0, then go to 2 8/0, and then I'd start laddering in my chain. Okay, just like that. And when you ladder with chain, the chain shrinks up a little bit. So you want to cut probably a little more chain than you think you need, because it will, especially if you're just doing one strand, like one bracelet strand. Though you did see here how I closed this one, I added some beads and stuff too. So you can play around and have a little bit of leeway with it. But here with this one, I think this would look particularly handsome laddered through with 2 strands. It would look really nice. The links on this chain are really big, so if you're just doing this, you could ladder with a heavier cord, like I laddered with KO last time, but I think this might be fine right here. And you can see I don't even need a needle, though I'd put a needle on it or I'd stiffen the ends. See how that bigger Ceylon would look with it, right? Like this. That would be really pretty. Okay, So that's the run along. Now I've also grabbed this run along, I think, would also look kind of interesting with flat leather. And if you put your run along in between the flat leather, you could come in and see how these are going right here. And I'm going to have to play with this a little bit more. I didn't have a lot of prep time for this since we just decided, and Tria said, let's do your live on this tomorrow. I was all perfect. Let's do it. But I think laddering in between these large 5mm pieces of leather would look really, really cool, I think. I think it would look really nice. And then the clasp, the way you could close it, slide on back, please. The way you could close it, I grabbed a clasp, a 20mm, and so you could maybe, depending on how this would go, and I think I'm going to play around with this idea because I like it, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I know that we've got some very skilled watchers out here, and you guys might want to jump in and play around with this before I do. But take a look at that. You could do one strand on either side like that, right? Then you could use a clasp. What I'd probably do is, like the leather project we have, I've got one right here. This one, this is the gypsy leather bracelet that we do. This is ultra suede on the end. So I might put ultra suede on the end and then maybe glue it into this clasp, maybe, or maybe just do a closure kind of like this is, right? Does that make sense? So this is something I think I just wanted to kind of give you some food for thought for your for kind of your creative well there. So that might be kind of cool. The other thing that also might be kind of good with this heavy leather or this wide leather would be this Love of Lydia chain that we love so much. And see how this chain, I'm going to get a little tighter in here. See how this chain has those little nubs kind of on it like that, right? That little nub, you could use a heavier cord. I'm going to actually use, this is like a 1mm here. So I could come in, I'm actually going to come in from the opposite way. And this is just a tester. Pardon my reach here. I'm going to just pin that down. And this is exactly how, I mean, I'm testing it right now, like right in front of you guys, right? So there's no, this is how when I start on a project, I'll kind of jump in and I'll go, is any of this going to work? Let me move that camera up a little bit more. So see how I'd come in. So it's just like infinity stitch. And then I'd come underneath. And then I would come around. I'd go through this one. And again, I think this is 1mm leather that I'm using, but you could use maybe Chinese knotting cord might be better because it's a little more flexible, though I'm not sure about that yet. But if you have some of this chain at home and some of this cord, the 5mm or 0.5mm flat leather. So see, you want those little nubs to kind of sit on top here. So it would go here. We put it underneath. and go here and under. So let me kind of tighten all of this up. You'd have to play a little bit with the tension on all of this, but see how I'm just going to tighten it up there? There we go. Look at that. That looks pretty feisty. Let me show you here. A little tighter. Right? Sharon saying she likes that chain. It looks, I'll show your comment there, Sharon. You love that chain. It looks great with the whiter leather, adds some dimension, and I like the point sneaking over the leather. I do too. And I think that this 1 millimeter, and I grabbed what I had sitting here on the Facebook room desk that I'm working on. I think this is maybe metallic maroon, maybe, I think is what that is. But you could do it in a leather that matches for a more unified look, or use, something that is a little more contrasty like this. I'm looking to see. So Sharon's asking, would you also use thread to ladder first before laddering with the leather? It's an interesting concept, Sharon. I would say probably not. I think that it depends on how, let me do a couple more passes and then I'm going to take it off the board and I'm going to see how it feels. Depending on how stable I think this is, that maybe I would just keep going with this, right? Or I wouldn't add thread. But it depends, I guess, maybe on how floppy it is, or, how I feel it's going to last. But there's lots of room. There doesn't seem to be a lot of rubbing on this. Okay, so let me take this clamper. If you don't have the clampers, you guys, hi thee to the clampers. They really work well for all types of things. I'm going to lift this up a little bit so you can see. And of course, you can see I'm not even working off of, I'm working off of the chain. I haven't cut it. I'm going to see if I can ladder this backwards to ladder this in. And the amount of leather I'd use, you're asking? If it's just a single strand, maybe, whoops, I didn't get that through there. Maybe a yard, maybe a little bit more. You can always kind of use more than you need and work from one end and then cut the rest of the way. And see how I'm kind of also working backwards on this too, right? So you can ladder forwards and backwards, especially once you have this pattern. I think we're going to have to make this as a project sometime, revisit this. That's what I love about these kind of crazy off the cuff, literally off the cuff projects that we do with on Free Tip Friday, because you can kind of just brainstorm, and figure out something fresh and new. This, I think, is completely fresh and new. I haven't done this yet. And laddering on this wide strap leather, we have such great colors. So there we go. And the way I might finish this, I just kind of got a little idea. So just bear with me here on this. Again, 0.5 millimeter strap, comes in a billion different colors, plus the 1 millimeter round leather. So now what I'll do is I want this to, I came back through to kind of, stabilize it like we did with the top of the Super Duo on Wednesday, right? Does that make sense? So it looks like it's a beginning. Can you see that? Then what I might do is I might come in. See what I'm doing? I'm just weaving back and forth. Whoops. And what I might do if this were a real bracelet project, I might add some glue here. So this is glued down. And then I would just taper this. And this would go, I'm going to cut it. This would go in a 10 millimeter. I'd taper it down so it went into a 10 millimeter. Let's pretend that this is a 10 millimeter because I don't have one on my desk. But the 10 millimeter clasp is half this long, right? So, or half this wide. So I would just glue those ends right into the 10 millimeter and I would taper it, right? So let me, do I have any tape here? Yes, my tape is here. So let me mock this up. If that goes into the clasp right there, this would make a great guy bracelet for sure. I know that we all love to make the men in our lives jewelry, or at least many of us do. I do. Chris loves it when I'm making pieces. So see how I'm weaving that. So it would also be kind of a cool piece for just a wider cuff. And those of you who know me know I love a cuff. So let me see if I can just get that in there. It's also kind of cool, this 5 millimeter, these two strands of 5 millimeter, just weaving in between them like this, right? Putting on some sliders or small things. This has a lot of potential right here. Those of you who also know that I do a lot of different crafts, I also do a lot of regular textile weaving. So this is it's sort of like twining. It's not really, but it kind of has that same kind of feeling to it. But I know that after this broadcast, Ria is going to text me and she's going to say, let's get this piece on the calendar. So we'll maybe revisit it on a regular Facebook Live broadcast so we can get a project page up for it. There we go. And again, this is 1 millimeter that I'm playing around with. I'm going to do one more. In between this 0.5 millimeter flat. And then what I would do here, I'm actually going to use these while they're taped together. I'm going to cut it off a little bit more. And then this would go right into my 10 millimeter, though this is a 20 millimeter. But you can kind of pretend with me there how that might look. Let me get that over there. I'll mock this up. There we go. And like this, and then I'll move my hands out of the way and you can see it. You could also put 2 more plain straps if you only had like a wide one here, right? You could put, I bet it would fit because this is a 20 millimeter. So you could get like 2 other colors of leather and put them on the side. We also have braided leather that would look really good. I would have to really smush this together, so I'm not going to do it right now, but those are also ideas. So let me get this a little close right here. That's great. You can see all that. Anyway, that I think that's a keeper, and it's very flexible. So if you saw, if I added it to my wrist stack right here, look at how nice that looks stacked up. And we carry this chain, as I say, it's a book chain. The style is called a book chain, which I love. It's very, very vintage. But this is the this is called the Love of Lydia. You can see I missed a part there with wrapping, but again, this is just a a tester. So the way I would finish this is I would glue. I would use my Zap glue. I would glue my cord down probably really, really well, right? This, like that, right? And then I would glue these straps right into my clasp. And again, I'd use a 10 millimeter, not a 20 millimeter. I might also put it in some ultra suede like this, right? I'm not real sure yet, but this idea has kind of fueled a fire. Yeah, you can see I missed one wrap right there. But anyway, that's kind of and I might not make this long, though tapering, if you're tapering this to go into a clasp, you might have to do this. This is about maybe 3/4 of an inch right here, okay? So to recap a little bit, let me get a drink of water. Oh, before I want to show you, I've got a couple more minutes. I want to share something else with you. So you saw this one with The Love of Lydia, the book chain here, okay? I'll just kind of pin that over there so it stays. We've done this wheat chain. We did this run along or this Rolo chain. Oops, this caught up on my little pin cushion. So we did this guy over here. And you can do those sitting together, you know, however you want to do it. Gosh, my desk is so messy that it's catching everything. So let me get my little pin cushion there. Emily made this little pin cushion for me. I keep it on my desk. It's been almost a year since I've seen Emily in person. So I'm looking forward to, I saw a few of you in the chat are saying that you've gotten your COVID shots, which are amazing. That is fantastic. My mom and dad have gotten theirs. Janice has gotten her first one. It's very exciting. So hopefully soon for the rest of us, they'll be coming down the pike so I can see my people. I had a dream last night that sometimes my friend Christine watches. She's my friend from high school, and she was also my partner when we had our store in San Francisco called Bellissimo. I had a dream that Christine, that she called me from down the street, and she said, I got my vaccine, I'm down the street, let me in. And I was like, wait, no, I haven't been vaccinated yet. But it was pretty funny. So I hope that we all will be able to get together soon. That'll be really a great thing. So this one's called Little Keyholes. We use this keyholes chain also. I showed you that one. This is the little keyholes. So it's very similar, but it's littler, right? So then you can see how this would look. I think it would look really great laddered in between. You can't really see this. I might do this like so, and maybe do it with a 1 millimeter leather so it's skinnier. You could even do this with a 0.5 millimeter leather so it's a super slim little bracelet. What I also wanted to show you about this keyholes though, if you, let's put like maybe 5 on this chain. And I want to show you how this would work here. Well, maybe 6, because I don't want to cut the chain. So I'll just, let's see, 2, 4, maybe I'll do this one, 5. There we go. So a chain like this also works really well. I'm going to line it up here. Let me get the mirrored, the camera down there. Right. There we go. And it's, I would do this also. There's a ring design that my buddy Chris Silva makes. Some of you may remember Chris from teaching days back at beadshop.com. She's a very, very gifted jewelry designer. She did this project where she would get fine chain like this, and she would weave with wire in between to make like a mass, like a just kind of a solid mass of metal. So you can see the thread path that would happen here with that. So if I did this, and it would be a little bit of a bear maybe to set up, but once you got it going and once you got everything in the right direction, see how cool those would look. And you would taper this with beads. I would start by laddering some 11-aughts probably with this, and I'd ladder, and then I would start and jump in with my chain. And you can see these links definitely have a direction. They either go facing to the side like this with the top of the chain link here, or you can see the circle of the chain link there, right? And so you would just go back and forth in between the same path, and then you would just ladder like we did that wheat chain. These Rollo chains, like this keyhole chain, or the little keyhole or the big keyhole. There it is, it's there. Since they're super directional, they're actually, I think, a little bit easier to ladder than, there you go, you can kind of see how that might look. They're a little bit easier to ladder than the wheat that has a twist to it like this, right? This is something I would probably not use for your first rodeo, your first go round for this. Another one that you could use though that might be a little, it's still tiny, but it's also, the links are kind of big for what they are this simplicity chain. So this would look pretty good. Like if you go back and forth here, let me go back a couple. And you can see even with 3 links across, how those 3, you would just capture those links and then go back through, skip the next ones, drop down, go back through. So this would also look pretty nice too, this simplicity. Okay. So I hope that gives you a little peek, or at least piques your interest in laddering with chain. What I would do to couple with this broadcast, because we're not really talking about how to start or how to end these guys, but I'll show you this one again here that I did on Wednesday. This will couple really nicely with this last Wednesday's broadcast, the one that we did on the color study. And the date of that broadcast was the 17th of February. And you can find it on right on our website, beadshop.com. You can go to the project to color study and you'll see it linked there. Or you can, of course, go to our YouTube channel and find all of our archived broadcasts there. So you see how I started this one right here was I got my cord and I macrameed up at the top here. And then I started going in and out of that wheat chain. And the secret to really good chain laddering, you guys, is treat the holes in the chain like beads, right? So that when you're laddering, I'm looking for a little pointer here, I'll use this pin. My infinity stitch here comes through on the first pass from the left to the right, and then the pass that goes back from the right to the left goes back through the same link, okay? Then you jump down, you go from the left to the right, and then back from the right to the left through the same link. So you're creating an infinity, like a figure 8, not a zigzag, okay? You don't want to go down from here to here to here to here to here, okay? It'll make it kind of loose and wobbly. But if you do that number 8 or figure 8 between each of the loops that you choose, that's going to hold this nice and steady. I used KO for this one, you can see, but I also did, you could use a heavier chain if you wanted, just to play around, you know, a heavier chain and a heavier thread. So I hope that makes sense. And then on the end, to just close it, if it was a single wrap, I just ended it like I would any wrap. I just wrapped it around, took the tails of my thread underneath. I macrameed over them like this. You can see the macrame in this one. I put this roller bead on, sent everything through, and then finished the macrame there. I just put that roller bead on just for fun to show you guys how to put a bead on. It's not really structurally necessary, but if you made your bracelet like a little short and you need to elongate it a little bit, that would be fun. You know, you can add a little kind of large hold bead there, a pony bead, our metal pony beads, or that roller bead is nice. And then I just tied a knot there at the end, nothing super fancy. Okay, so I hope this whet your appetite for some more chain. We'll get some of these chain bracelets on the calendar because I think you guys really enjoyed them. And so, but again, for this one here, take a look at the Wednesday broadcast. Drea and Karen are getting it up as a project too, so it'll be linked as its own project, so you can find the video there as well. But it's really simple. And again, if you don't start out right, you know, give yourself a little bit of a tester and kind of play around with it. You don't have to cut your chain up. You just have to start kind of, you can even do it with straight pins like I did here, but just kind of start doing that figure eight, that weaving to get the hang of it, and then jump in and give yourself a project. It'll be fun. But stay tuned. We'll put some of these on the calendar. I think it's kind of fun, and especially since spring and summer are coming, we're going to be wearing shorter sleeves, so we'll want to show off those bracelets as well, I think. So I wanted to give a shout out to our friends in the south here. I know that it's weather conditions for you guys have been really crazy. We're hearing a lot about Texas, but we're also hearing about the other southern states, including my grand's home state of Louisiana. I know you guys were real cold down there and things are starting to get better. So hang in. We're thinking about you guys, of course, here in California today, in Northern California, just south of San Francisco. It looks like it might give us a little bit of rain, which as Californians we're always happy about because it always is a little dry here. So we're always looking out for rain. So I am taking next week off. There will be no Wednesday broadcasts, nothing on Wednesday, nothing on Friday, but I will be back the first week of March, and we will start with a really great project from Drea with super duos, right? We're going to continue with our seashore bracelet. Oh, it's good to hear that next week in Texas, the temperatures will be back up to the 60s and 70s. So really stay safe, stay dry, stay warm. It's great. So really, you know, we can huddle together, we can craft, we can, I don't know, just try and stay warm, I guess, too. But really stay safe. We really want to make sure that all of our friends and neighbors around the world are feeling okay. I also wanted to mention the Great Bead Extravaganza is coming up in March. So we're going to advertise on that a little bit more soon. So I'm super excited to share some of that with you guys as well. And because we're having our chain day today, we have two things going on here on beadshop.com that I wanted to mention before I got off the air. We have a store-wide coupon that you can take 15% off when you do a purchase of $50 or more, and that coupon is going to go through the end of the month. So you can use coupon code Amethyst15 at checkout. Okay, but today we have something special in addition to that. Today only, Friday, February 19th. So if you're watching this at another time or later and it's not the 19th of February, this code does not, or this discount won't apply. Chain on the website is marked down 10%. So if you use that Amethyst 15 coupon code, you can get yourself actually 25% off of chain. So it is the day to buy chain. And if you're part of our VIBs, you can use a VIB reward with that instead of your discount, and you can save, depending on which discount you've saved up for, up to 40% off, which is crazy. I know that Janice just fell over when she heard me say that. But if you are not shopping with beadshop.com yet, we'd love to have you join us over on our website. We have a great, very important beader, VIB system that we love. You are automatically enrolled once you make an account over on Bead Shop. So start saving up, save up those VIB points. There's all the information. You can go right to beadshop.com to get all the information for our VIBs, which are very important beaders. Also, I wanted to mention you can find all of the information on the project and the products from today's broadcast right on our website. And you guys sign up for the newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. We've got some fun things happening next week, even though I am away, so you're not going to want to miss it. And then, as always, you can find us on our social media. You can go to Instagram, follow us at beadshop.com. You can follow us on Facebook at The Bead Table, as well as you can jump over to our Bead Table blog. You can access it through the homepage of our website, or you can just put in the search bar of your favorite search engine, Bead Shop Bead Table blog, and it will pop right up. Of course, you can always subscribe to us right at beadshop.com on our YouTube channel. And for those of you who have voted for the Bead-A-Lon Challenge, we did the Bead-A-Lon Challenge. It's been a while now. It's been a few weeks. So voting has been up, and voting actually ends today for that Bead-A-Lon Challenge. So we will announce the winner. If you haven't seen it, you can jump over to the Bead-A-Lon Facebook page, and you'll see the challenge that we did. I was amongst some very good company there with some great designers. So the voting ends today. So as soon as they let us know who won, we will let you guys know. And we talked about this piece last Friday a little bit, and so we'll be breaking this piece down a little bit more and doing some of that freeform wire wrapping as well. But that was a fun challenge piece to do. Oh, and Kim said it's already been announced. And they said, oh, actually, that's kind of embarrassing. And they said that well, thank you. And they said that I won it. So that was great. I'd like to thank the Academy and everyone else who was nominated. So it goes to show, I guess I should have checked. Well, anyway, thank you for that. That's funny. And I will see you guys in a week. I will be back on, let me just look at the date. I will be back on the 3rd of March with a fun new project from Drea and more surprises. So stay safe, stay well, stay socially distanced, stay masked, and get those vaccines and wash those hands. We're coming to a close, I hope, soon. You guys are at least a safer time for all of us to go out. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you guys in a week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.